Opera is one of the world's leading browser providers and an influential player in the field of integrated AI-driven digital content discovery and recommendation platforms. Its mission is to enable Internet users around the globe to discover and access digital content and services in a fast, easy and personalized manner. Given the growing importance of online content consumption, we believe that the future of digital content discovery is one where consumers will enjoy highly personalized experiences enabled by AI algorithms and big data. Opera is a multi-platform web browser developed by its namesake company Opera. The current edition of the browser is based on Chromium. Opera is available on Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. Safari WebKit engine, 0.2 mobile versions are still active, called Opera Mobile and Opera Mini. Opera also has a news aggregator app called Opera News with an AI search engine. Opera was initially released on April 10, 1995, making it one of the oldest desktop web browsers to ever exist. It was commercial software for its first 10 years and had its own proprietary layout engine, Presto. In 2013, it switched from the Presto engine to Chromium. In 2016, Opera, developed in Norway, became a subsidiary of an investment group led by a Chinese consortium. In 2018, Opera's software went public on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. By the end of 2022, the consortium sold all of its shares, and Opera in turn committed to repurchase all of its American depository shares to re-establish its corporate autonomy. As of the end of 2023, Opera's software was 72.4% owned by Kunlun, a Chinese public company, making it a subsidiary of that company. Opera CEO James Yaoi Zhou is a controlling shareholder in Kunlun. In 2019, Opera introduced Opera GX, a browser marketed towards gamers, claiming to have better performance and a built-in tracker and ad blocker, and also has a CPU and RAM usage limiter. In 1994, John Stevenson von Tathzichner and Geir Ivarsoy started developing the Opera web browser while working at Telenor, a Norwegian telecommunications company. In 1995, they founded Opera Software as. Opera was initially released on April 10, 1995, and then it was released publicly in 1996 with version 2.10, which ran on Microsoft Windows 95. Development for mobile device platforms started in 1998. Opera 4.0, released in 2000, included a new cross-platform core that facilitated the creation of editions of Opera for multiple operating systems and platforms. To this point, Opera was trialware and had to be purchased after the trial period. With version 5.0, released in 2000, Opera became ad-sponsored, displaying ads to users who had not paid for it. Subsequent versions have given users the choice of seeing banner ads or targeted text ads from Google. With version 8.5, released in 2005, the ads were completely removed, and the browser's primary financial support came through revenue from Google, by contract, Opera's default search engine. Among new features introduced in version 9.1, released in 2006, was fraud protection using technology from GeoTrust, a digital certificate provider, and PhishTank, an organization that tracks known phishing websites. This feature was further expanded in version 9.5, when GeoTrust was replaced with Netcraft, and malware protection from HotSecure was added. In 2006, Opera Software ASA was released, as well as Nintendo DS browser and Internet channel for Nintendo's DS and Wii gaming systems, respectively, which were Opera-based browsers. A new JavaScript engine, called Karakan, after the Javanese alphabet, was introduced with version 10.50. According to Opera Software, it made Opera 10.50 more than 7 times faster in SunSpider than Opera 10.10. On December 16, 2010, Opera 11 was released, featuring extensions, tab stacking, where dragging one tab over another allowed creating a group of tabs, visual mouse gestures and changes to the address bar. Opera 12 was released on June 14, 2012. On February 12, 2013, Opera Software announced that it would drop its own Presto layout engine in favor of WebKit as implemented by Google's Chrome browser, using code from the Chromium project. Opera Software planned as well to contribute code to WebKit. On April 3, 2013, Google announced it would fork components from WebKit to form a new layout engine, Blink. That day, Opera Software confirmed it would follow Google in implementing Blink. On May 28, 2013, a beta release of Opera 15 was made available, the first version based on the Chromium project. Many distinctive Opera features of the previous versions were dropped, and Opera Mail was separated into a standalone application derived from Opera 12. In 2016, Opera was acquired by an investment group led by a Chinese consortium. The consortium included several Chinese companies such as Kunlun Tech and Kiu 360. On July 27, 2018, Opera Software went public on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, raising $115 million in its initial public offering. Opera began repurchasing its shares in 2022 following the closure of 360 Security Technology Incorporated that year. In January 2017, the source code of Opera 12.15, one of the last few versions still based on the Presto layout engine, was leaked. To demonstrate how radically different a browser could look, Opera Neon, dubbed a concept browser, was released in January 2017. PC World compared it to demo models that automakers and hardware vendors release to show their visions of the future. Instead of a speed dial browsing feature, it displays the frequently accessed websites in resemblance to a desktop with computer icons scattered over it in an artistic formation. On May 10, 2017, Opera 45 was released. Notably, this was the last version of the browser compatible with 32-bit Linux distributions, with later versions requiring a 64-bit Linux distribution. This version, inspired by the previous Opera Neon design, was called Opera Reborn, and which reduce parts of the user interface, such as adding light and dark modes, and integrates the messenger applications Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and Telegram. Additionally, new ad blocking settings were added along with security changes. On January 4, 2018, Opera 50 was released. This version updated the browser to utilize the built-in ad blocker to provide cryptocurrency mining protection that stops sites from running scripts that attempt to use the CPU to mine cryptocurrency. Additionally, the browser added Chromecast support, VR support enhancements, saving pages as PDFs, and improved VPN performance with region-based locations rather than country-based. On April 9, 2019, Opera 60 was released. This version, codenamed Reborn 3, focused on moving the browser towards a more minimal design, further improving the free VPN service, and was marketed as being the world's first Web3-ready browser, as it included out-of-the-box integrations with blockchain and cryptocurrency applications. On May 21, 2019, Opera GX is announced and opened for early access. The only information available in this announcement is that the browser would be a special version of the browser aimed at those who play games. The early access program was opened on June 11, 2019. On June 24, 2021, Opera 77, codenamed Opera R5, was released. As one of the larger updates to the browser, it added more music streaming services in the sidebar, integrating native support for Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Tidal, SoundCloud, and Gaana. The pinboards feature was also added, letting users create a shareable collection of websites, images, links, and notes in a visual form. A video pop-out feature was also added for video conferencing, which happens automatically when switching tabs, popping out of the window when navigating away and popping back in when navigating back. Later, in Opera 83 released on January 19, 2022, this feature would be implemented for all video players, not just video conferencing platforms. On January 31, 2023, Opera announced that given the discontinuation of support for Windows 7 and 8.1 by Microsoft, Chromium-based browsers are also ending support, so Opera will no longer get updates on those versions, but older versions will continue to function on those versions of Windows. On March 22, 2023, Opera and Opera GX incorporated features with AI-powered tools. These features include AI prompts that are suggested to the user, and sidebar access to ChatGPT and ChatSonic. The prompts show up on sites that contain content like articles, offering to shorten the text or summarize them. On June 20, 2023, Opera launched Opera 100, codenamed Opera One, a version of the browser built from the ground up around AI which was unveiled on April 25, 2023. This browser includes a native AI called Aria, a GPT-based AI engine that was developed collaboratively with OpenAI that sifts through web information, generates text and code, and much more in the browser. Tab islands were also introduced, allowing browser tabs to be grouped together, bookmarked, collapsed, and more. Major UI changes were made, and a multi-threaded compositor was introduced, allowing the browser to function and render in animations much smoother than it was previously capable. Features. Opera has originated features later adopted by other web browsers, including speed dial, pop-up blocking, reopening recently closed pages, private browsing, and tabbed browsing. Additional features include a built-in screenshot tool, snapshot, which also includes an image markup tool, built-in ad blockers, and tracking blockers. 74. Built-in messengers. Opera's desktop browser includes access to social media messaging apps WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and VK. Usability and accessibility. Opera includes a bookmarks bar and a download manager. It also has speed dial which allows the user to add an unlimited number of pages shown in thumbnail form in a page displayed when a new tab is opened. Opera was one of the first browsers to support cascading style sheets, CSS, in 1998. Opera Turbo, a feature that compresses requested web pages, except HTTPS pages, before sending them to the users is no longer available on the desktop browser. Opera Turbo is available in Opera Mini, the mobile browser. Privacy and security. One security feature is the option to delete private data, such as HTTP cookies, browsing history, items in cache and passwords with the click of a button. When visiting a site, Opera displays a security badge in the address bar which shows details about the website, including security certificates. Opera's fraud and malware protection warns the user about suspicious web pages and is enabled by default. It checks the requested page against several databases of known phishing and malware websites, called blacklists. In 2016, a free virtual private network, VPN, service was implemented in the browser. Opera said that this would allow encrypted access to websites otherwise blocked, and provide security on public Wi-Fi networks. It was later determined that the browser VPN operated as a web proxy rather than a VPN, meaning that it only secured connections made by the browser and not by any other apps on the computer. Crypto wallet support. In 2018, a built-in cryptocurrency wallet to the Opera web browser was released, announcing that they would be the first browser with a built-in crypto wallet. On December 13, 2018, Opera released a video showing many decentralized applications like CryptoKitties running on the Android version of the Opera web browser. In March 2020, Opera updated its Android browser to access.crypto domains, IPFS, making it the first browser to be able to support a domain name system, DNS, which is not part of the traditional DNS directly without the need of a plugin or add-on. 90 This was through a collaboration with a San Francisco-based startup, Unstoppable Domains. In 2021 iOS and desktop versions have support of IPFS. 93. In January 2022, Opera introduced Opera Crypto Browser into public beta, combining a non-custodial wallet with a dedicated browser for blockchain-enabled services and Web3 technologies. On April 14, 2022, Opera launched its crypto browser available on iOS devices. As of 2023, Opera Crypto Browser has been discontinued, with the browser's features being integrated into Opera and Opera GX. AI Chatbot. In 2023, Opera added an AI chatbot which it calls Aria, into the browser. This is powered by Opera's Composer AI engine and connects to OpenAI's GPT model. Opera GX is a gaming-oriented alternative to Opera. The browser was announced on May 21, 2019 and released in early access for Windows on June 11, 2019, during E3 2019. The macOS version was released in December of the same year. Opera GX adds features geared toward gamers and other audiences, with the regular Opera browser features included. The limiter allows users to limit network, CPU, and memory usage to preserve system resources. GX Cleaner is a tool that is said to allow users to clear cache, cookies, and other unwanted files, etc. The browser also adds integrations with other websites such as Twitch, Discord, Twitter, and Instagram. The browser also has a built-in page called the GX Corner, which combines gaming-related releases, deals, and news articles. On September 5, 2019, Opera won a Red Dot Award in the Interface and User Experience Design category for Opera GX. Around the same time, Opera GX also marked its first 1 million downloads. On May 20, 2021, a mobile version of Opera GX was released on iOS and Android. On November 12 of the same year, Opera GX Mobile was awarded another Red Dot Award in both the Apps category and the Interface and User Experience Design, Mobile UIS category. On August 19, 2023, Opera GX introduced a VTuber named GX Aura for their social media accounts. She later became the mascot for the browser. On November 28 of the same year, Opera GX launched a new advertising campaign titled Very Boring, featuring actor and comedian Eric Andre smashing and burying computers not using Opera GX. The advertising campaign also included a splash screen whenever the browser is launched during the campaign with slashing sounds and Andre yelling out the browser's name. While well received by many of its user base, many criticized Opera GX's actions. In the browser's subreddit, many users complained about the loud volume of the splash screen and that the splash screen could not be bypassed unless the execution file was deleted. Opera software uses a release cycle consisting of 3 streams, corresponding to phases of development, that can be downloaded and installed independently of each other: developer, beta, and stable. New features are first introduced in the developer build, then, depending on user feedback, may progress to the beta version and eventually be released. The developer stream allows early testing of new features, mainly targeting developers, extension creators, and early adopters. Opera Developer is not intended for everyday browsing as it is unstable and is prone to failure or crashing, but it enables advanced users to try out new features that are still under development, without affecting their normal installation of the browser. New versions of the browser are released frequently, usually a few times a week. The beta stream, formerly known as Opera Next, is a feature-complete package allowing stability and quality to mature before the final release. A new version is released every couple of weeks. Both streams can be installed alongside the official release without interference. Each has a different icon to help the user distinguish between the variants. In 2005, Adobe Systems integrated Opera's rendering engine, Presto, into its Adobe Creative Suite applications. Opera technology was employed in Adobe GoLive, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Dreamweaver, and other components of the Adobe Creative Suite. 118 Opera's layout engine is also found in Virtual Mechanics Site Spinner Pro. 119 The Internet Channel is a version of the Opera 9 web browser for use on the Nintendo Wii created by Opera Software and Nintendo. 120 Opera software is also implemented in the Nintendo DS browser and Nintendo DSi browser for Nintendo's handheld systems. Opera is the fifth most popular web browser. As of April 2021, Opera's offerings had over 320 million active users. Reception. The Opera browser has been listed as a tried and tested direct alternative to Chrome. It scores close to Chrome on the HTML5 test, which scores browsers' compatibility with different web standards. Versions with the Presto layout engine have been positively reviewed, although they have been criticized for website compatibility issues. Because of this issue, Opera 8.01 and higher had included workarounds to help certain popular but problematic websites display properly. Versions with the Blink layout engine have been criticized by some users for missing features such as UI customization, and for abandoning Opera software's own Presto layout engine. Despite that, versions with the Blink layout engine have been noted for being fast and stable, for handling the latest web standards, and for having a better website compatibility and a modern style user interface. Thank you for watching this video.